Well, welcome to our Elk Run Market update. I'm Ron Wilstein, a broker at Keller Williams Luxury Properties in Park City, Utah.
And I'm Doug Olmstead, the seller's property consultant on the Wilstein team. Thank you very much for joining us today.
All right, let's hop right into it. And before we look at what sales have been occurring at Elk Run, we'd like to give you an overview of the Park City real estate market. Over the past 12 months, there's been a total of 1,456 sales. Now that consists of homes, condominium, and vacant land, and that's all real estate brokerages combined. And so that's actually up 10% or 137 sales from the same 12-month period the year before.
If we break that down into homes, condos, and lots with the year-to-year comparison, you can see that homes are up 4%. Condos are up 24% from 590 sales to 732 sales.
That's a big increase.
That's a huge increase. And lots are down 12% from 221 sales to 194 sales, and that's just due to a total lack of available inventory for lots for sale.
That's right. I'm sure we'd actually see a greater number of sales if we had more lots to sell.
Indeed.
But people are always curious about prices, so let's turn our attention to what homes, condos, and lots are doing in terms of prices. We're looking here at a graph, and we've broken it into two categories. One is the Park City city limits, the other is the Snyderville Basin. Elk Run, of course, is located in the Snyderville Basin. And we're looking at the period of October 2014 through September 2015 depicted by the red. The gold or the tannish color represents the 12-month period the year before. And so you notice within Park City for home medium sold prices that prices are actually up 4%. From $1,300,000 to $1,350,000. Snyderville Basin home prices climbed significantly by 19% from $725,000 to $50,000 all the way up to $862,500. So very healthy appreciation there in the Snyderville Basin.
And we look at condominium median sold prices. In Park City limits is up 1% from $539,950 to $545,000. So just about flat, but about 1% statistically. Out in Snyderville Basin, up 12% from $345,000 up to $387,500.
And now we turn our attention to lot sales. This is lot medium sold prices. In the Park City, you'll see a significant increase from $550,000 to $676,185. That is statistically speaking a 23% increase. Although I do want to point out that we're dealing with such a small sampling here that you could have in the last 12 months a preferred location on one home, superior views on another, and maybe the 12 months before that not have that, and that could account for 20% of that appreciation. So prices are clearly going up for land, but I don't want to give you the wrong impression that your property may have automatically gone up 23% because you have to look at exactly what is sold when you have a small sampling. When we do turn to Snyderville Basin, which is a much larger sampling, we do see a 9% increase from the medium sold price of $311,750 to $340,000. So several extra dollars in your pocket, nobody complains about that. Well, if you're a seller, you do. If you're a buyer, maybe you do. Anyway, we're looking at cash now, and this graph here is important because it shows us that way back in 2007, right over my shoulder here, average number of cash transactions was 26%, so basically 1 in 4, and then a couple years after that we hit 50%, so every other deal was an all cash transaction, and that plus or minus has remained pretty stable. The first quarter of 2015, you'll notice that it climbed all the way to a record high of 56%. It's a lot of cash going into Park City real estate. And then the second quarter rolls around and it drops all the way to 43%. And naturally, you would ask why the decline. And the best answers we have for you is it's kind of a combination of two things. Number one, interest rates are so good. And number two, there are some additional loan programs that weren't otherwise available, and that is fueling the basically the world of finance. And so it's not that everybody with all that cash ran out of cash. They still have plenty, but there's some good financing options, and I think that accounts for it. But we'll follow this and report on this in future webinars as well. Now, Doug, let's turn our attention to Elk Run. What's happening there?
Sounds great. Condominium sales in Elk Run are actually down 7% over last year's number of sales. But as you can see in the slide, that's one sale less. So not
Sounds like a lot when it's 7%. Yeah. One less.
So from 14 sales to 13 sales. But that makes the absorption rate in Elk Run selling at a pace of one sale every 28 days. So you can see that they sell very well in Elk Run. So currently 2 condominiums on the market in Elk Run, and that equates to a 2-month available inventory.
Now, prices you can see here have ranged from $410,000 all the way to $575,000. Of course, depending upon the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and whether they've been remodeled. But the medium sold price comes to $475,000, which is nicely up by 13% over the previous year value. So, there you see it, an extra, $55,000, all things being equal. Nice appreciation in Elk Run. So, good, strong market there and good values. Now, if you're interested in receiving a printout of the specific properties that we've referenced to in Elk Run, all you have to do is send an email to us. You can send it to me if you want, Ron at thewilsteinteam.com.
Or of course, Doug at thewilsteinteam.com.
That's right, and we'll get that information back to you. And if you want information about the Elk Run market whenever you want, you don't have to wait for our webinars. We tend to do them about every 6 months on a geographical area or a condo project like Elk Run, but you don't have to wait. You can go to viewparkcityrealestate.com/Elk Run, and you can get the information. You can request it anytime, or thewilsteinteam.com/Elk Run. Let me just show you what it looks like as a quick demo. Here's our website, viewparkcityrealestate.com. Just go up to the browser, type in there after that name /Elk Run, and when you hit enter, it will take you to this page. And this is a page specifically dedicated in our website to Elk Run condominiums. And you scroll down a little bit and you're going to come to these buttons here. The green one gives you the chance to watch for an update on Elk Run condos, watch a webinar in essence, that's what you're doing now. Or you can go to the maroon button, highlight over it, changes colors, and if you click on it, it will take you to this form. And this is very easy to fill out, it'll take you less than a minute. And you simply identify the property you're curious about, sales data on, whether it's a home, condominium, or vacant land. If you care about a particular number of bedrooms, bathrooms, you mark that. And then contact information include, at a minimum, your first name, last month, and your last name, and your email address. If you want to receive our quarterly newsletter, include your mailing address, we'll be sure that you get it. And then in the comment box, you can type in specifically what you're after, number of sales over the last 6 months, or any question that you have, you can ask there. And then you just scroll down to the green button, submit form, and when you click on that, that will send it to Doug or to myself, and then we'll get you that information. There's no cost, there's no obligation whatsoever, and we're here to get you that information. So you can ask for that at any time. Don't feel like you have to wait until we have our next webinar. Now, Doug, why don't you share, a lot of money's been put into the Park City Resort, kind of highlight a couple things, because we're about a month out from the official opening. It snows
it's ticking
here.
down, yeah. So yeah, Vail, $50 million of improvements over the mountain. Been doing a lot of biking and hiking up through there to watch the improvements, and it's been pretty fun to watch. Quicksilver, all the towers are now up, and they're going to have that ready to go. Quicksilver is the gondola that connects the 2 mountains now. That's the 8.5-minute gondola ride from Park City over to what was called Canyons, but it's all Park City now, so that's all complete. The new restaurant, the miners camp, is all framed in, dried in, and that's just going to be a state-of-the-art, fantastic facility right there at the base of the gondola.
And that's also, for those of you who are familiar with Silverlode, that's at the base of Silverlode, because if you thought about the gondola location last year, you wouldn't know where it is.
That's a good point. Thank you. And then, down at the bottom on the front side of the mountain where there could have been somewhat of a bottleneck, they put in the new King Kong 6-pack, so that alleviates all that, keep the mountain flowing freely. That's all in, all the towers are all in. Fantastic improvements.
So I'm looking forward to riding that.
Me
It's
too.
Great.
Yeah.
Speaking of how soon you can ride these lifts, well, according to the scheduled opening for the Park City Mountain Resort, November 11th, that's just a couple weeks away. Now, of course, that's weather permitting, but as the weather turns cold, they've got a lot of snowmaking equipment, and if they're able to make that, and they'll try real hard to get a couple runs open at a minimum, then you could be riding or skiing as early as November 11th in Park City. In order to do that, you want to have a pass, and you may be interested in the Epic Pass. There's two in particular we just want to quickly reference. The Epic Pass and the Epic Local Pass, there's about a $200 difference between the two. But that gives you access to 7,300 acres of skiable terrain now that Canyons and Park City Mountain Resort are combined. So that's a lot of skiing off of one pass. And the Locals Pass has some blackout dates, but otherwise you can get a lot of activity in. And the beauty of this is you can take that same pass, go over to Vail, Beaver Creek, Breckenridge. You can even go to Australia, to Perisher, and use that pass and ride. So, it's a pretty great pass.
Yes, it is.
Now, we don't want to forget about Deer Valley. So, there's still, all the resorts still have mountain biking, but that soon will be replaced with snow, and as the trails get moist, that will be shut down. But of course, Deer Valley is great. They typically open the first weekend of December, and I think that's December 5th, and that's weather permitting and snow. You know, Deer Valley, they're only going to open if they've got primal conditions.
The perfect quarter ride ready to go.
Yeah, although at a minimum, I guess you can go eat their food.
That's true. Can't complain about that.
Now, we want to share with you the impact. We get asked this question a lot with Vail putting all this improvement in at the Park City Mountain Resort. How is that impacting the Park City real estate market itself? And great question, and we actually will address this in our monthly Market Talk webinar on October 15th, and so we don't have time in this webinar to cover it, but go watch that one. It will be posted on our website, BuyParkCity.com. And finally, we'll just conclude and say that if you're curious at all as to the value of your Elk Run condominium, the easiest way to find out is go to our website, BuyParkCityRealEstate.com. Scroll down on that first page, that landing page, to the Learn What Your Property is Worth section. I'll just show you that real quickly. So here we are on the home page, and you scroll down a little bit past Start Your Park City Search. You can use that if you want to look around on properties. Go down a little further, and you come to this section, Learn What Your Property is Worth in Today's Market. And the form is very similar to the request for current data. You fill in your property address or unit number at Elk Run, put in number of bedrooms, square footage, a few more details here, and then scroll down a little bit further, include your name, address if you want, email address for sure. And then in this lower section here, choose the first item, which says contact me now for a free property value assessment. No cost, no obligation, don't have to be planning to sell, you can just be curious. Click that and any of the others that apply, and then the green button, and then we will contact you, arrange an appointment, and meet with you and see your property. So it's very easy to do.
If you have any questions, like we said, please email your questions and we will promptly answer them by email. Again, that's ron@thewilsteinteam.com or doug@thewilsteinteam.com. And if you would like a call from us, like Ron said, please include your phone number and the best time for us to contact you.
And again, a reminder, every month we do a Park City Market Talk webinar. It's about 20 minutes. We always give a market overview, a bit more detail on the monthly one than we covered on this Elk Run webinar. And then we cover other important topics, and as I mentioned, we're going to be covering what impact will Vail's $50 million improvements have on the Park City real estate market for the October. So catch that when you can, and enjoy. Thank you for watching our Elk Run webinar, and we trust that you will have a wonderful holiday season. Bye-bye.